Welcome to Shine, Delusion, Shine, the radical art of dreaming beyond boundaries. I am Vicki Todd, and together with Dr. Pat, we will learn to push the boundaries of our minds, to think delusionally, and create fertile ground for our big dreams to seed, grow, and manifest. Each episode, we will gain more ability to think delusionally and cultivate beyond boundaries faith that we can accomplish dreams which seem unreachable. Shine, Delusion, Shine is a springboard to believing, dreaming, and thinking beyond the ordinary, and a catalyst to living a more fulfilling, destiny-driven life. You are born with dreams, gifts, and talents you are meant to use to make this world brighter. Let your delusional dreams shine. It all starts now.
Wow. Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to take this incredible journey with the most amazing Vicki Todd. Vicki and I have known each other now for several years. And every time I get ready to do a show, I am always in awe on the topic she picks and how absolutely relative it may be to that particular day in my life. Today, setback, ? Perspective shift. To come back. Setback ? Let's talk about that and let's get into it. What do you know, everyone out there, about a perceived setback? And just the word itself makes you really stop in your tracks. Why? Because the language alone is enough to stop you. It stops your thinking. It stops your life. It stops just about everything if you hold it as a no. But today, Vicki's going to walk us through why no is so old school. We don't want to use it anymore, right, Vicki? It's like, no. Right. Say no to no.
No, down with no.
Down with no. But really, it is. I mean, think about it. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't things you say no to. Let me just be very clear to everybody out there. I did an interview this morning with PETA, and PETA is an organization that I've supported for 22 years, really. And what we're saying no to in PETA, it's not even a question mark. It's like, stop your animal testing. Hello. You don't need to make candy bars and hang a mouse from a rack. So there are things in life you get to say no to. But when it comes to your vision and your dream, this is what you're going to explain to us. What is your no? But what's more important is your not yet.
Yes. And that's where delusional thinking comes in. Okay, well, after our last show last month, which was a fabulous show, it was a wonderful topic about saying yes or no to the call and the consequences of going in either direction. And I was just really kind of tired that evening. And, sometimes when we get tired, the negative kind of gets blown out and magnified. And I was just in one of those moods of, is any of this making any difference to anybody? Why am I, doing this podcast? Why am I writing my play and, taking all the time to do this staged reading? Why am I sculpting? And sometimes in the past, I would have this complaint session with God, the universe, and say, hey, you gave me this dream. I'm not seeing it. Why? And, so I didn't do that. I didn't complain. I didn't beg for a sign. This time I took a little bit slightly more mature approach. And I said, you know what, God, I believe in the delusional dreams that you've put in my spirit and my heart and my mind. I believe in this path. Please thank you for giving me a new perspective. And I kid you not, later that night, I was lying in bed and scrolling through Facebook. I don't know what person or organization had this, but I saw a post where it was an illustration of a spiral, just looked like a flat coil or spiral. And it said, you may feel like you're going in circles, but a slight shift in your perspective. And I was like, whoa, God is talking right to me. And they turned the spiral on its side to where it's sitting up, the wider spirals are, the base is on the bottom, and it goes up and up and up, more focused in smaller circles, because we're getting more focused and moving up. And so that new perspective shows us the progress we're truly making on our journey. And it had a little butterfly coming out the top, which for me is a sign for my grandmother, who is also an artist. And I was like, wow, God, universe, you're really talking right to me. And so a little bit later that same evening, I also got an Instagram message from one of my friends in Washington State. Hey, Michelle. And she had seen the clips from that show that we had done that day and how much, it really touched her. That the clips, got her to go to the full episodes, and she watched both of our episodes. The first one, we were talking about the La Loba story of, gathering the bones in our first episode with Women Who Run with the Wolves. She said at that moment she had been reading Women Who Run with the Wolves, and the whole thing really touched her. She was kind enough to send me a message which touched me. And I said, oh my gosh, I was in such a down moment. And your comment it was like a warm hug from the universe saying, keep going, you're on the right track. So that little shift in perspective, we're, making an upward movement more than what we think.
And, let's talk about this for a minute, because we have to get to the point sometimes where we have those decisions. And I want to be very clear. These are decisions. They are usually the precursor to them is either the same old thinking or a new perspective. I'm sorry, I'm so very linear on this, because I really thought back in my life and it's either been same old, or I get a new perspective. Right. And I had the same thing happen to me, right? A new perspective. And I had 3 thoughts that came to mind. As a result of it, I spent Sunday putting an idea to paper, and Jessica sent it out to 20,000 people over the weekend, and we're going to do a follow-up. And I always get asked the question, why? Why are you doing this now? Okay, so let's just be clear. When I talk to God, or the God of my understanding, Vicki, I am not shy to say, you promised.
Yeah.
I am not shy about that.
I'm not either.
I'm not shy.
either.
And then I'm not shy to say, I'm going to call this in right now. Mm-hmm. But out of that, you come up with things that you realize you either haven't done or could tweak. Now, what's an example? We're getting ready to launch. And what I realized is, no, we cannot do this as a team Monday through Friday. So I'm going to be talking with every team member here to come in on a Saturday or a Sunday, because you cannot go from where we are and think you're going to train your producers, everybody on the team. It's not going to happen. Not when you're doing a mega deal. Right. But you see, I just been worried about no. It's not about accommodating other people. It's about, if you want to be part of a thriving company, this is what you have to do. Otherwise, you're not going to make it when we flip that switch. So let's talk about these things. Sometimes they're easy decisions. Sometimes they're not. But what if you question whether or not you're on the right track, Vicki?
I always question if I'm on the right track.
Well, that's what you just heard come out of my mouth, right? And the God of my understanding says, what the heck's wrong with you?
Right.
What do you mean you're not going to ask people to come in on a weekend? And by the way, you probably should tell them they're going to probably have to come in multiple weekends, because nothing is going to change when you launch the new expansion network. They will be lost. So you give people an option. But it's like God's like, what's wrong with you, Pat?
I know. Well, the tricky thing about God, the universe, he doesn't show you the whole plan. He doesn't give you a map and say, you're right here. You're going to be here at this date in this year. And, sometimes I think, can you just send me a text message?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe send me a video, just a little hint, but it doesn't work that way. But I truly think that sometimes what God has planned for us is such a larger, bigger dream than what we can imagine. And if we saw the whole plan, it would probably freak us out, and we would just hide our head under the covers and say, no way. So let's talk about elephants versus puppies, because this fits right in. I would love to take credit for this. I cannot. I heard it on a Joel Osteen message.
Oh, yes.
And so he was talking about, what if your dream is taking so much longer to come to fruition, to manifest, because it is so much bigger and so much more unique than you can perceive at this moment. And so the thing with the elephants versus puppies, an African elephant has one baby, one unique, juicy, huge baby, but it takes 22 months, almost 2 years, for that baby to develop. On the other hand, dogs, they can pop out puppies every 63 days. And so just a little bit over 2 months. And so his example was, if you have the two mothers talking, the mother dog and the mother elephant, and the dog says, I don't know about you. What's going on? I don't really think you're pregnant. I've been popping out all these puppies. And the elephant says, no, no, no. What I'm carrying is big. It is unique. It's not common. And it's taking a long time to develop because there's so many juicy parts to it. And so I love that idea that sometimes, like you're saying with your new project, that's a big, juicy, unique elephant, uncommon project. And it's going to take time. It's going to take extra effort. And I'm sure you're going to run into roadblocks that you'll have to maneuver around or go through. And so I love that idea that, hey, maybe, a best example in my life, I have a lot of artist friends who are getting, one or two pieces of their art into juried gallery shows, which is great. That is wonderful. And, selling their work. That has not been the path for me. I've gotten into a couple, but last summer I tried to get into two with some of my sculptures and was rejected. And so what I have been told is, sculptures are hard to get in. So basically, wrong path. It's not going to work for you. I don't believe that. What my intuition tells me is that instead of just having separate pieces into these separate shows, I have had this dream in my heart ever since 2022 when I did my one-woman show, when I had 30 of these body print paintings.
Yeah.
I just had this idea, and it's grown and grown and grown to say, I see this installation of paintings, sculptures, and written spoken word, because, I'm also a playwright, to maybe have, piped in where people could hear it, or maybe a video, or maybe they pick something up to listen to it. And I see it as this art installation. To me, that would be a huge elephant using all of my gifts together. And that's why I'm like, I don't really want to give up one or two pieces at this moment, because that would break up this story. Mm-hmm. And, every once in a while, we'll have people that pop into our lives, these divine connections that kind of say, yeah, this is a great idea. Well, 2 summers ago in 2023, I had a booth in Art Santa Fe with several of my sculptures. I had 10 sculptures and a couple of paintings. And I met this wonderful artist. She's a little bit older than me, very experienced in the art world. And she came up to me and she said, Vicki, you don't need to do one piece here and there. Your pieces need to be together to tell a story. And I was like, that's exactly what my delusional dream has been telling me. So it's been growing and growing, and it's getting more solid in my mind. So to me, that would be an elephant, and it's going to take time to get there.
Well, let me talk about the other word, and I want you to jump in because, I don't know about you, but when I'm having a conversation with the God of my understanding, and that is a term we use in our 12-step programs, by the way. And people always ask me, what makes you an authority? Hello, 35 years. Okay, 35 years sober. And okay, you can do the math on how many years I've been clean. 1973. Go ahead, do the math. And so here's what I understand. I could never get in. So part of those programs is you must turn it over to God of your understanding. And I got to tell you, I kicked and screamed. Honestly. So what does God do? So I find a sponsor because I looked like a boy back in, I don't know what year that was, 89. And I walk into a men's meeting by accident because I'm so freaking high. And on the way out, a man at the door with a giant beard grabs me and 2 other guys. And he said, you, and you're going to be my new sponsees. So I don't know. I decided to pay attention to him. And then he said to me, you go clean the bathrooms. So here, long story really short. What do you think God does? He puts me in the group with a Muslim and a Jew. Now, if you want to really learn how to suck up whatever beliefs you have about spirituality and religion, get sober with somebody from the Jewish community and somebody that goes to mosque. Why did God do that? For the same reason God is talking to me and you. God said to me, and I want you to take this forward because I know you got this story. God says, Pat, you are not doing this weekend work or whatever work for you. You need to give your people a chance to be successful. And they are not going to be successful if you flip a switch and launch and they don't even have a sense of what the heck they're doing.
Right. Well, what I'm hearing you say, that God is supporting you by giving you this wonderful, juicy elephant creative idea. But he's also telling you, you need to support your people. So it's like a trickle down of support. And so that's absolutely right, because it's tricky. What we're doing, yes, I'm doing this. I want to do this for my life. Of course, I want for people to say, oh, I love your art. I love your play. Good job. Yay for you. But the real point of it is you doing it. God puts these gifts inside each one of us in order for us to help others and make their world brighter, be a blessing to others. And so that's exactly what you're doing by listening to the idea that came to you and saying, okay, this is great, we're going to do it. But then also having the wherewithal to say, you know what, I need to give support to my people to make this the best it can be and, help their lives, make their lives easier as we go along.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. See, for people that hear me talk about it, my team is like, don't tell people about the launch because we keep saying we're going to do it, but it's God that's putting the brakes on. Why would when God comes in and delays, there is a dang good reason for it.
Yes.
And now sitting back, I know what it is. We didn't have the right tech finished, blah, 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 blah. I didn't have the right team. So tell us about the difference between God's delay and how we interpret that to be a no.
Yes. I love this story so much. I cannot explain how much I love this story. I saw a clip of the Graham Norton show, which is a talk show. They call it a chat show in London on Facebook. He was interviewing Billy Porter, who is an American actor, singer, director, Broadway film. Love him. Billy told this wonderful story that way back in 1998, that's the year that Alan Cumming had won the Tony for being the MC in the Broadway musical Cabaret. Love that show. It's one of my favorite Broadway shows. And Billy said, I would like to audition to be the MC. That's the MC is the puppet master of the whole show. And so he was automatically told no in 1998 because they said, you are Black. This is a story about the rise of the Nazis in Berlin in early 1930s. That would make no sense for the MC to be Black. Well, Billy was like, excuse me, it wasn't that whole thing about racism and oppression and all this kind of stuff. Well, he told his mother and he said, I had a praying mama. And so she told him, God's delay is not denial. So delete those negative voices and keep following your big delusional dream. That was in 1998. Fast forward to last year, 2024, one of Billy's actor friends, Marisha Wallace, she saw an ad in London to audition for Sally Bowles, which is, the main female character in Cabaret. She's Black. Well, 2024 in London, they were like, yeah, we would love to hear you audition. Well, of course, she slayed and she got it. They asked her, who do you think would be the best MC for you? Oh, my friend Billy Porter. They are currently doing this groundbreaking performance of Cabaret in London. And Billy said it's the first time in 60 years of a major commercial production of Cabaret to ever have a Black Sally Bowles and a Black MC. And also Cliff, the American reporter, is Black as well. And so that took a long time, but that's an elephant to be the first to break this ground and say, hey, this makes sense. And so I love that story.
Yeah. I mean, this is really what we're talking about. I want to stay with that journey. Let's call it a journey because you got to love Billy. You got to love me some Billy. Yeah. But choices, choices, choices.
Yes.
Red or blue or ocean, red pill, blue pill. You
Yeah.
know, I'm actually like, seriously, you got to get Keanu Reeves drunk in Matrix Resurrections for him to take the right pill. Why? But this is what I'm saying, because I needed this to happen to me for me to be able to see, wait a minute, it's not about delay. It's not about websites. It's not about this. You're going to fail if your people are not 100% in it.
Right.
You see, but it took like 6 months for that message to get to me. But let's talk about choices, choices, choices. My mama, Mama Doris, she talks to me still.
Yeah, my mom does too. And that's one thing, that's one phrase my mom always said throughout my life. And she was saying it, say it in a sing-songy manner, choices, choices, choices. And so, we have big choices, we have small choices, but her point was we all have choices of where to go in our life. And that has always stuck with me. And in 2015, when I resigned from my professor job to go off and do the world and do art is all I knew what I wanted to do. I really had no path. I took Marie Forleo's B School. And in the B School, she had the choice of either red ocean or blue ocean, kind of like the two pills. Red ocean, there's sharks in the water. It's blood in the water, competition. I'm going to tear you down. There's only so many pieces of this pie. I'm grabbing my piece. Blue ocean, way more peaceful and tranquil because you realize we all have our unique gifts that we need to share with the world that God has put into our heart. And so everybody is unique. Everybody has their own niche. And so there's no reason to compete. And so that's a choice to say, you know what? I think I'm going to go more blue ocean than red ocean. Because I don't know about you. When I hear red ocean, it's competition and we're tearing each other down. I get like this in my body. And that's putting you in your setback. And so the choice of saying, we're all unique. We all have a voice. We all have a story to tell. Oh, I feel just a release. And I think that goes along with jealousy as well. Because, if you see people on Instagram or Facebook or, people moving and shaking in the world and you're like, well, my stuff is better than theirs, or how come they're getting ahead? That is putting you in a setback as well. What if you change that perspective to say, I'm not going to be jealous, I'm going to be inspired. If God did it for them, he can do it for me too.
Yeah. I made a decision over the weekend, Sunday, and the decision I made went against every business coach that I have. And what I said to them is, I woke up and I heard the voice of my mom. And we need to send an email out and double everything we offer for the first 11 people. Of course, your business coaches want to go into analysis. I said, stop. Let me read the opening letter. This is what it says. Everybody got this. It says, before I say anything else, I want to share something sacred, words from Mama Doris that shaped the very foundation of my life and this network. Never quit. Go beyond the nonsense your mind feeds you. Trust the source, not fear. Listen to other perspectives, even if you don't agree, and be grateful no matter what. And those words carried me through my addiction, my recovery, heartbreak, healing. And they are the heartbeat of everything I do. And the reason I'm writing to you now. See, that's what the God of my understanding put in my heart, and a way to reach people to help them enact their vision. I didn't read a book. I just heard the voice. So how do we help people hear the voice you hear the voice others hear, and literally shut out the noise that would have us pretend that we are a puppy giving birth to an elephant?
A puppy giving birth to an elephant. Woo.
That's a visual.
That is a visual. Woo. And we've talked about that sometime, there are times when you have to hold your dream in, because if you put it out into the world, people can tear it down and then you start doubting. But there are also times, and like you said, knowing through your intuition, and that is your higher self connected to your higher source, giving you that little push. Hey, Pat, say this now, do this now, send off this email now. And so I think that getting quiet, getting in that space where we truly listen, not to all the noisy outside voices, but to that inner voice that's connected to God, the universe, your higher power. That's the voice that tells you the right direction. That's your North Star. And so what I'm hearing is you're choosing to live in this blue ocean. We've all got gifts. We've got our own niche. It is time for me to say, hey, here's this big dream. And I'm asking, like, it's like you're fishing for people. You're fishing for people to reel them in and help you manifest this. And that's a beautiful thing.
Well, and let's talk about where things come from. That didn't come from being like happy, go lucky, skippy. I had a setback. And it showed up in two ways. One, I fell in my sport. I never fall in my sport. So that was one, falling on my butt. So setbacks, what are they? Let's give people the punchline to this message from you today.
Yeah, I truly believe that, and I'm putting setbacks in quotes. Every time I say it or write it, it's in quotes because it may seem like, okay, I've fallen on my butt and this never happens. Literally, that was a setback. But if we can look at it, shift that perspective that this is something, a lesson that I could learn, or how could I see this in a different way and change my attitude or change an action? And that's a choice, that we can make. Maybe we look at it as a piece of this larger puzzle that we can't see yet. And so all of that may be leading you up to a great testimony that your journey has taken so long. And then that eventually is going to be a great story, a great testimony that you can share with people to therefore help them.
Thank you, Vicki. How do we find out more about you? And thank you so much for this today, because many people are really feeling this now. How do we find out about you? How do people see your art?
The best way is to go to my website, which is vickiworldart.com, VICKI, worldart.com. So you can look at my art. I have my one-woman show, the show that I recently did a staged reading of. Both of those shows are YouTube videos on there, and also my email address.
And by the way, if you haven't noticed, those art pieces behind Vicki are Vicki's art.
Yes.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you so much. And to all of you out there, man, if you're thinking setback, I'm going to tell you it's a setup.
Yeah.
And it's a setup for an amazing future. But the ball is in your court.
And sometimes it's a test to see how committed you are to get to that big delusional dream.
Yep. And I'm telling you, the ball's in your court. You got to pretend you're Caitlin Clark. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Shine, Delusion, Shine, the radical art of dreaming beyond boundaries. I am Vicki Todd with Dr. Pat. Tune in with us each fourth Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio for more simple, repeatable habits to identify the dreams, gifts, and talents you were born with. Expand your mind and believe your dreams can become a reality. We invite you to tap into the flow of the delusional realm with us to make this world brighter. For more information on living a more fulfilling, destiny-driven life and to connect with me, visit vickiworldart.com.